Hello everybody, Yom Tov, and guess what, it's now been rebranded Typical Tuesday or Typically Tuesday or whatever it is, but I do have a really good excuse for not being here yesterday. Even if I'd wanted to be, I couldn't because I had another big attack of lymphedema which hit my face and I looked horrific, and it is literally taken 2-3 days for my face to get back to some kind of normal. It was pretty bad this time. You know, I couldn't curl my hands up into a fists or even just curl them up a little bit. Everywhere just swelled up. I don't know whether it's been because the weather is now phenomenally warm or whatever it is, but I actually looked like, you know, that big puff monster that they had in Ghostbusters, that marshmallow man. Well, I looked like a cross between that and the Michelin Man. I looked really, really bad. So there was absolutely no way. I mean, even my lips felt as if they were 4 times the size. And there's just no way I could have filmed. I wouldn't have felt great, and you wouldn't have liked looking at me. So I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. I'm not going to say this is going to happen to me every Monday. I do, you know, how I want to get back to some kind of regular schedule, but I just have to go with the flow and take one day at a time. That's all I can do. Another thing maybe I could put it down to was the fact that I was phenomenally busy with videos all last week. So maybe it was that, I don't know, but you know that I had this huge surge of energy, and while I had it, I wanted to make the most of it. I really do feel I'm in a need of another big surge of energy. I'm glad it lasted as long as it did, believe me, because it felt great. And what I wanted to talk to you today was, I remembered more about the meditation that I wanted to share with you. And I think I've remembered what the lady's name was. And it was either something like Amma or Amala, something like that, but it was like an Amma sound. So, and because I know a lady called Amma, and I think it's a really pretty name, it's the name of the lady of innate light. She reads the tarot. She's an extremely talented lady. I'm just going to say that the lady's name that I saw, her name was Amma, and that's what I'm going to call her. So there was one part of the meditation, and I remember it actually came after when I'd been speaking, or well, not so much speaking, but sort of asking the grey if it really was a grey. And it, you know, and it sort of communicated that it was, and then said that it would talk to me again. Well, what happened after that was, I remember going back and talking to the lady, and then suddenly there was this absolutely blinding white light. But the strange thing is that I could look into it. It didn't make me want to cover up my eyes. It wasn't painful. It was, under any other circumstances, if it had been real life, that's not the right word, but if it had been, say, me just sitting around the kitchen table and anybody had shoved a light like that in my face, I would have sort of been cowering away from it. It would have been too much to bear. But in this situation, it wasn't. I could happily look into it. And it was, I mean, it just shot out of nowhere. And then the next thing I saw were, I don't know whether it was a wildflower. I mean, it was huge, mind, and it seemed to stretch out to the horizon. I don't know whether it was fields filled with wildflowers or whether it was just a wild garden full of flowers, but there were trees off into the distance that reminded me a lot of, there were some that looked like Japanese maples, but they were unlike any kind of maple, like a proper Japanese maple that I'd ever seen, of colours that I couldn't begin to describe. And then there were other trees like willow, like in full flow, you know, the kind of full flowering willow that you can get. And ones that were like cherry blossom, but not. But again, the colours were just, I couldn't begin to describe them. And everything seemed to take on this pinkish, goldy, purpley hue. And the sky was either giving off these same colours as a reflection from like was on the ground, or whether it was the other way round, I don't know. But I remember looking as far as I could see, and it was so beautiful. And I felt so calm and happy and at peace. And I felt as if I'd seen it before, but I know I'd never seen it before. I'd never seen anything like this before. And I remember, because the Amma was standing to the right of me, and we're looking at this scene, but it seemed to be in front of us, but all around us, but predominantly in front of us. And without looking at her, I said, "What is this place?" Because it's beautiful. And like I said to you the last time, I was speaking to her just as normal as I would to you, or, any other time, just as, just as one human being to another, or one being to another. I wasn't being reverential, I wasn't being subservient or anything like that. As far as I was concerned, I was in this special place, and there was this woman who was extremely beautiful, sort of sharing the moment with me. And I said to her, "Where is this place? Because I feel I should know it, but I've never seen it before. And it's just so beautiful." And like I said, I feel peace here. And it's just, it's like my soul feels rested here. And she said, "You should know it." And I said, "Why? How?" She said, "It's home." And I said, "It's home?" She said, "Yes, it's home. When it's time for you to come home, this is home, but it's only part of it. You're just looking at the beginning. There's so much more." And I said, "Oh," I said, "what a pity that I couldn't just sit down here and just breathe it all in." And she said, well, your time will come where you can, but not yet. And I said, well, so is this what we call heaven? And she just said, the best way to describe it is that you're home. This is home. And I remember seeing occasional twinkling lights, but this was like daytime. And I mean, obviously everything was done telepathically. And I'm looking and thinking to myself, I wonder if they're little fireflies or something, but I just can't see their form. And Amma said, no, they're souls. And they're just having fun. Because they're all part of the energy. They're all part of the source. You know, and the best way for you to be able to describe it to anybody else is just to say it's home. And so I said, so is this where we come to when it's our time? And she said, well, this is home for you. Excuse me. She says, this is home for you. This is why I'm showing it to you. Everybody's is different, but everybody will have their own experience of beauty and a feeling at home. She said, there's no two persons the same. She says, this is yours. And I went, oh. And I remember saying, but what about my family? Won't they be here? And she said, oh yes, when it's their turn, yes. She said, you'll all be reunited, don't worry about that. She says, you've all been together before. She said, this is something, she says, you know this at a soul level, you already know it. She says, and I'm just confirming it for you. You know, she says, there's so many things that you know at a soul level. She said, and now I'm confirming it to you. She said, you know, you can go and give people hope and tell them the beauty that's waiting for them. She said, all you're seeing is the peace that you want by the time you're ready to come home. She said, because you'll want time to rejuvenate, to fill your energies again, and then it'll be time, you know, to take account of what you've been through in this life. And she said, but, you know, you can talk to me about that another time if you want. And then I remember, I don't know what happened after that. I think it was after that I was, and when I was telling you this place like a catacomb, it was sort of a cross between a catacomb and like a friendly cave, because it seemed like all the walls are made of stone, but it had electric light, but you couldn't see any wires. I mean, obviously all the wires and that were hidden, but wherever I went was by thought. So it was like that, quick. So, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't tried meditating again since last week. I don't feel quite ready yet to go into another meditation because I really want to let what happened sink in, so that when I do go back, I've got relevant questions to ask, rather than just spend half an hour or an hour enjoying myself. I want to be able to go back and, you know, make it worth my while, so that I can come back and share with you other things that I've been told. But I've got to honestly tell you, you know, for the length of time I've lived on this earth, you know, I've had some great times and I've got some fantastic memories. And I think my biggest achievement has been as a mum. But, you know, I'm still working at that. I'm still a work in progress, even though they're both adults, you know. And I've still got to work on being a good wife. So, you know, I'm not done, and I don't think I will be done until I finish drawing breath, you know. But I think it's important for you to know, from what I took of that, is that you have something wonderful ahead of you. All of you do. And I don't think it matters what you've done in this life. I think it does matter if, say, if you have done something wrong and if you show remorse and regret. I mean, if you don't, then maybe that's, you're going to have to learn something from that. I don't know. But I took hope that as long as I don't screw things up, you know, if I keep on trying not to make a mess of things, you know, if I try and practice what I preach, which is, you know, show kindness and respect and make up for past mistakes. And I mean, I am sorry for things I've done in the past. I really am. And I think it's important to address those things while you've got the opportunity to do it. I think sometimes you can spend a lifetime apologising for things. But you've got to really mean it. You know? But if I just keep on trying to do my best, you know, and like I said, if I can make one person happy per video, then, you know, what's that phrase? My work is done. If I can make 5 people happy, that's brilliant. I mean, I remember saying at the beginning, I thought, if I'm lucky, I might get 50 subscribers. And people might stop and listen to things I've got to say. And I've been so very lucky. One thing I've found about this lockdown, it's been so tremendously draining. And for me, I am really having to reach down deep inside of me to get me through this. Because like I said last week, it's one thing being housebound, you know, but at least if Bill says, oh come on, let's go in the car and go to the garden centre, or let's go to the seaside and get some fish and chips and what have you, or let's go to a museum or an art gallery or something like that, then we've got the freedom to go. Right, okay, he's pushing me everywhere, but at least I can get out. Now we still can't go anywhere. But I'll tell you something, just to finish this off. I had to go out today, well, to get a little bit of shopping in. I drive about once a week. And I can't drive for longer than about 15 minutes, because that's when my hands and my feet start to cramp up. Just while the shops are nearby. And you know something? You wouldn't think my part of the world was on lockdown. It's like people have decided they're ending it now. There are more people on the streets. They are not keeping the social distancing. I mean, they've got queues going in and out of one supermarket, and they're letting them go in and out, and they're letting the disabled in before anybody else. But I noticed there were a few other shops open, and people are just going in and out. Now, the post office wasn't open today, the bank wasn't open either, but supermarkets are open, DIY shops are open. There's a couple of, I've heard that there's a garden centre about 8 miles away has decided to open part-time. And locally people are, it's like, we've had enough. We're breaking the lockdown now, we're coming out. And that's exactly what they are doing. And in one sense, I don't blame them, because I honestly do think, I mean, this has been going on since the middle of March, and it's now coming on to the beginning of June, be June soon. And I think people have had enough now. Because you'll get some who'll see 2 or 3 people going out and having fun, and they'll think, oh, to heck with it, if they're going out, I'll go out. And then before you know it, the whole street's joining in. So yeah, so I have no idea what's happening now. But people are starting to take to the streets again. And there's no police to stop them. Nobody's stopping anybody. So, that's all I can tell you today, folks, I'm afraid. I remember saying to you the other day that I had tons of ideas. But I think they've gone out the window somewhere, because I can't remember any of them. I'm racking my brains to try and do things to entertain you all, and I've got a couple of ideas. You know, I'll jot some things down and get back to you on them. Well, it's your true crime tomorrow. So, if anybody has any suggestions about anything you'd like me to cover, please let me know. Other than that, I'm just going to bring something out. And what I was going to say to you was, not all of them are going to be murders. I want to look into things like like kidnappings and, you know, stuff like that. And I mean, there's bank robberies and heists and all sorts of things. I mean, I don't know, when people think true crime, what is it they automatically think of? Is it murders? And that's one thing I do want to know, is if it is just murders you want me to cover, that's fair enough, that's what I'll do. But there's all different kinds of robberies, isn't there? There's fraud, like I say, there's kidnappings, there's bank robberies, there's hold-ups, you know, gunfights, bootlegging, you know, Al Capone, that sort of stuff. I do like stories about the mafia. I wouldn't mind telling you some stories about the mafia. And you know what, I might do that tomorrow. I might find a story about the mafia for you and see what you think of that. Well, let me know in the comments if that's something that you fancy. Right, well, like, again, I forgot to look at the time. I have no idea what time was I started, but I do know I'm going to end now. So, please, will you take care of yourselves? And, you know, if you want to keep on staying safe, stay safe. If you want to risk the outside world, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to do it. I've come this far. I'm going to keep on hanging in until they say, you know. I know my hairdresser, she's ending lockdown because she's run out of money. She's got to start earning again. They stopped her husband's wages. Her husband's a contractor, but it's difficult just now. So she rang me up and just said, can I come in a couple of weeks? And so she's going to come all sort of suited and booted and face masked and everything. But she's not going to blow dry my hair, because you can blow germs in the air with the hairdryer, apparently. So she's going to leave me, she's going to cut my hair but leave it wet. So, God knows what kind of mess I'll make of my hair. But, never mind. I love you guys. And I will see you again very, very soon. Take care now. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.